Hello and welcome to the big picture. The love-hate relationship between the Aam Aadmi Party and the media has taken a turn for the worse. The love seems to have entirely disappeared from the relationship, with the Aam Aadmi Party chief and Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal launching a diatribe against the media. His acidic comments about the media going to the extent of saying that a large section of media have taken supari to finish the Aam Aadmi Party indicates the extent to which the relationship has worsened. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party's Delhi government has issued a circular threatening defamation cases aimed mainly at the media if it is found to be harming the reputation of the Chief Minister, his ministers or any public servant employed in the government. It was not too long ago that Kejriwal in particular and his party in general received huge support from a large section of the media. The party in its earlier avatar as India Against Corruption was a darling of the media as it went about giving 24/7 coverage. It's largely felt that Kejriwal and his Aam Aadmi Party were a creation of the media. So what has gone wrong now that Kejriwal and his party are having a running battle with the media? How should media react to it? And does Kejriwal have a point when he says that a large section of the media is out to finish him and his party? We will discuss all this today with an eminent panel of journalists. I have with me Rajdeep Sardesai, consulting editor, India Today Group; Ajay Upadhyay, veteran journalist and General Secretary of the Editors Guild of India; Siddarth Varadarajan, former editor of The Hindu and a senior journalist; and Venkitesh Ramakrishnan, associate editor of Frontline. Welcome to all of you. I have to say here that despite our best efforts, the Aam Aadmi Party has refused to send any of its representatives either from the government or from the party or its government to be part of this discussion. Anyway, Rajdeep, when Kejriwal says that large section of the media has taken some kind of a supari to finish his party, is it his frustration? Why is he saying things like this?
Look, I think it partly reveals a certain mindset that would like to control the media, which is intolerant of criticism. But I must also say, unfortunately, that there is a section of the media which has been attempting a hit job at the behest, dare I say, of either their owners or their ideological interest to finish the Aam Aadmi Party. So at one level, Mr. Kejriwal has no business issuing circulars like this, which are clearly intimidated and intimidatory in nature, and frankly he could have relied on the existing laws of criminal defamation before issuing such a circular. But on another level, I think we in the media also have to ask ourselves, have we allowed ourselves to be pushed into a position where a chief minister can openly say that a supari has been taken out to finish him? Because when you go through the details of the manner in which the coverage on some channels or some media houses has been over the last few months, there is certainly an indication that they have a single point agenda: how do we finish Arvind Kejriwal? But having said that, I'll only conclude by saying, once you're in public life, you must accept this as par for the course and find other ways in which this should be, in which you should put your point across, rather than sending circulars like this, which frankly reveal an anti-democratic mindset.
Ajay, when Rajdeep has been very frank, so that there needs to be a certain amount of introspection in the media also, there's no doubt about it. But when Kejriwal says something like that, you think that the media is overreacting to that? You think that the Editors Guild of India, of which you are the General Secretary, you have issued a circular now, you issued a statement saying that, what he has done is not correct and a lot of things. You think we are overreacting a little?
See, there are two things. One is that how Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and his party is behaving, and B is that how media is reacting. I think that the kind of love and affection which Arvind Kejriwal received from people and the new kind of politics which he ushered into the Indian public life was appreciated by each one and everyone. That's, I think, very visible from 67 to 70 seats, in the Delhi Assembly. Now, after having got this love and affection from people, I thought that the champion of transparency and the champion of right to information should actually live up to the expectations of the kind of new democracy which the new and younger generation of India is expecting. Now, this new democracy actually requires a lot of transparency. everyone keeps asking questions. It's not only the media is asking questions. People now ask questions. Social media is full of this. You commit one mistake and you're gone. Rajdeep can make just a small comment in his night show and people are there after him. You have to be tolerant because democracy not only gives you power, it also asks for accountability. Now, that's up to that. But in press, in media, I think what is important is our freedom. We have a cherished freedom. We have fought for it. We have long fought for it. And somehow we have been able to preserve it. There might be some forces, Rajdeep is saying, I think we may agree and disagree with that.
Do you agree or disagree?
See, when you say, saying that whether there's something good, something bad, media is a diverse thing.
Do you agree or disagree about Rajdeep's statement that some of the owners may be having an agenda to finish off the Aam Aadmi Party?
See, if you want to put words into my mouth,
no, I am putting his words.
Said is Rajdeep's words.
Yes.
And he stands by that.
Yes.
So,
do you agree with
statement. Now you say you agree with him, you disagree with him. These are the questions,
we should not be asking.
I don't like. It's
okay.
a diverse media.
Okay.
Anybody and everybody is, following some kind of ideology. If I say that right from, a newspaper which supports BJP and RSS to a newspaper which supports left parties, if you just put them together, you will find the diversity. Everybody has, follows some kind of ideology. Based on that ideology, they oppose or support. But the basic thin line which media in general is concerned is the objectivity. If that objectivity is distorted by anyone, if anyone reports without facts, I think we must condemn it.
So you think that what the kind of reaction which is coming to the kind of statements being made by Kejriwal is not an overreaction, you think?
No.
Of the media?
Yes, it's an overreaction.
By the media? Or of Kejriwal?
No, I am not getting you.
Is the media's reaction to whatever Kejriwal has said, is it something which is in tune with what he has said, or is it an overreaction?
Media's reaction?
Yes.
I think media's reaction is a fair reaction. If you allow a government official to push you behind a defamation case, I assure you, Girish, that tomorrow on every news item we can sit together and file a defamation case against that.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to say,
No.
every news item can be put into that category.
Let me get Siddarth. Siddarth, what is the big problem now? Is this notice circular issued by the Delhi government? Is it a big problem? One. Second thing is the kind of words which Kejriwal has been using in the recent past, Supari, and now yesterday or day before yesterday, he says that I don't care for the media. What media says doesn't matter to me. Are these things which should be of concern for the media? Is it something that we need to take it very seriously?
Girish, I would put Mr. Kejriwal's remarks into two categories. When he uses phrases like a section of the media is taken out of Supari, then out of
large section. He says large section.
I would say that this reflects his anger, a large section. I would say, and when he says that there should be public should try public trial of the media that offends. This is a reflection of his frustration, his anger at what he believes, what he claims, what he sees is bias in this section or large section, and to that extent he's not alone. I mean, when the Prime Minister has used the phrase Bazaru to describe opinion polls that he didn't like, or he has used the phrase news traders to describe journalists, this is par for the course. Unfortunately, leaders tend to be very dismissive of media reports that don't favor them. Increasingly, politicians have an attitude of if you're not with us, you're against us, and this is very unfortunate. But I would say fine, we take that on our chin. This is an occupational hazard that politicians are not going to like us. Where the second category, and I think this is what is more problematic and where we need to be very firm, is this threat of deploying criminal defamation against bona fide news reports. The irony here is that Mr. Kejriwal has himself taken a stand in the form of a petition in the Supreme Court saying that criminal defamation should have no place in Indian in the Indian legal scheme of things. He said it's unconstitutional. He said it goes back to the colonial era statutes. So when, as an individual, he's very clear that criminal defamation is a wrong thing. It's a bad thing. It unfairly restrains the freedom of expression. Then for him to invoke the power of criminal defamation as a chief minister, I think is quite frankly hypocritical. It's dangerous. And I'm saying this as an editor who has had to face the kind of bothersome proceedings when chief ministers or governments resort to criminal defamation for ordinary news reports that they don't like. So I think that this is not a very positive thing. I think that we should. I'm glad the Editors Guild has come out against it, because for any CM to even hint at invoking criminal defamation against media reports, I think is really out of line. And there should be no two views on this, even if, as Rajdeep says, we all know that there are biases, there's lack of professionalism, and there are ways of dealing with that. I mean, if you as CM don't like, so you can reduce your interaction with somebody, or you can use other means of communication, but please, for heaven's sake, don't threaten criminal action in the form of criminal defamation, because that really has a chilling effect on the freedom of the press. And I think it's highly regrettable that Mr. Kejriwal has sought to use this power in this way.
Okay. Venkatesh, what has gone wrong? What has gone wrong between the media and Kejriwal? Why is he behaving like this? Why has he become so intolerant, as all of you are saying?
No, I think this trait was there earlier also. I mean, if you look
and we overlooked that trait?
No,
the media overlooked that trait?
No, it's not as though it's not black and white. I think, Kejriwal, when he says, that, some people have taken a supari against Aam Aadmi Party, I think is a big point. In fact, it is not something which started after he formed the Delhi government. If you look at the trajectory of Aam Aadmi Party, especially in the Lok Sabha election campaign, when he actually took on the Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani as part of his campaign, and one knows how it had manifestations in various television.
We have a manifestation here.
We have a manifestation. So and the kind of diktats that went to the newsrooms not to cover Aam Aadmi Party. So there is something. But and I also feel that that Kejriwal has a point when he says that after the formation of the government, there are so many things that are being targeted, that so many things that are being raked up against the Aam Aadmi Party.
No, Venkatesh, it is being, I'll come to you, Rajdeep. It is being raked up.
Yeah.
No, because we need to.
No, I would like to look at this action that he has taken.
Yes.
There is a trait again, a larger trait in Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party, especially Arvind Kejriwal, where he uses methods beyond the existing framework to address certain issues. Like, for example, his major thing about controlling corruption in Delhi is to set up this call center where he says that don't stop people from asking for money, but record it and send it on. And I think what he is feeling with this move is that with this threat of defamation and the FIR, there will be lesser and lesser people who will be, who will be indulging in irresponsible reporting. I don't.
No, is it irresponsible? How much of it is irresponsible?
No, there is a lot of.
I think we need to make a distinction between legitimate criticism and defamation.
No, exactly. When he says that when media rakes up about the kind of governance which is happening, or many of the things. Example, the farmers' rally where that farmer died and all these things. These are all weren't these all questions which were legitimate, which had to be raised legitimately?
Absolutely. I don't think even if they were not legitimate, trenchant criticism is part of democracy.
Exactly.
You may not agree with it, you may disagree with it. It is part of democracy. I think Mr. Kejriwal should be, should have the skin of a rhinoceros if he's in public life. Here is, as someone pointed out, a right to information activist, won a Magsaysay award on right to information. He should be more than willing to open his doors even more to the media than the average politician should. Instead of that, he's gone to the other level, where he's trying to close his doors toward media and then sees any form of criticism, whether mild, whether extreme, as a form of hostility. You see, Kejriwal is caught in the same syndrome that Siddarth described, that many of our politicians are. Either you are with us or you are with them. So if you are my cheerleader, then it's fine. The moment you become a critic, then you must have sold out to someone or the other. That's my problem, because what is happening in the process is that the Kejriwals are labeling the entire institution of the media as some of our other politicians are. Bazaru one day, prostitutes one day, news traders a third day, Supari journalism. My worry is you cannot demolish the institution of the media based on your own concerns, which in some cases may be legitimate. If Arvind Kejriwal has legitimate concerns, there are other ways in which he can address it rather than get into this confrontation, hostile, adversarial relationship with the media. And my real worry is that if this continues in a way, he's playing to the gallery, he's playing to his mob. Because the mob out there believe that that the media has lost its credibility. So he is tapping into that populist sentiment that believes the media must be taught a lesson, much in the manner that Narendra Modi also has done post Gujarat 2002. Both of them have tapped into a general feeling that the media is biased.
And they've gone silent as far as the media is concerned. They don't want to interact with the media.
They, at one level, and in Gujarat we've had sedition cases in the past filed against media, and the media being described as anti-national, and who knows, Kejriwal tomorrow will do just the same. He doesn't like a particular channel, he will either shut them down or he will file a case of sedition against them. It is the mindset which is worrying.
The mindset
that is what we have to focus on.
Absolutely. But Ajay, you know, as somebody who has been in all kinds of all the various media, this thing, you know, whether print or television and all.
There was a
one second. Let me ask you a question. All said and done, whatever Rajdeep has said, all of you have said, but at the same time, there needs to be certain introspection within the media. Because as Rajdeep right at the beginning said that there are concerns about the way the certain sections of the media have been behaving, have been trying to treat this, not just Aam Aadmi Party, but every other party.
See, I'll tell you, this is a question which is, I think, digging into our shoes for some time, and we have been thinking about it. It's not as if media has not been introspecting. I think every forum we meet, we discuss only this issue now, that how to introspect and improve ourselves. But let me tell you, once the threat is looming large over you, you should forget about anything else. First, fight it out, protect your freedom. If that freedom will remain, everything will improve. If that freedom goes, nothing else will be left. Therefore, my concern right now is to protect that freedom at any cost, whatever it might be.
At any cost. That's the, Siddarth, you know, what Ajay says is very interesting and important also.
Yeah.
But the question is that, you know, when we say that the politician should develop a thick skin, should have some kind of a, you know, all that media also needs to have some amount of thick skin about these things, right?
Yes, I think that the way in which the media reacted to, as I said, the Supari comment and the call for public trial, etc., I think there was an element of overreaction there, quite frankly, because those were, of course, regrettable and unfortunate, but I dare say highly, you know, there were sort of emotional statements that he made which really had very little practical, you know, implications. It's not as if there is any such concept as holding a public trial of media. Essentially what he was trying to say was that, you know, you the Janta should hold television stations and newspapers accountable, and in a way the people have the right to do that because they consume this media. But I think where we, and perhaps where they, you know, where Kejriwal has been dangerous is in invoking actual use of law. So I think that, you know, it is also a fact that sections of the media have
just one.
I mean, you remember the
sorry, Siddarth,
on this Kumar Vishwas issue.
Right. Sorry, Siddarth. You know, just one little information. As far as the circular of the Delhi government is concerned, they talk of defamatory things and all that, but there is also one word which says if there are factual inaccuracies, then you go ahead and, you know, that will form the basis of the defamation apparently. Factual inaccuracies. As far as we can't defend our own brethren as far as factual inaccuracies are concerned.
No, but no, of course not, Girish, but I'm saying factual inaccuracies, they need correction, obviously, but whether a factual inaccuracy constitutes criminal defamation, you know, if that were the case, then I'm afraid, you know, newspapers and television stations all over the world would be doing nothing but fighting off criminal cases. I mean, this is an industry where mistakes can and do occur. The question is whether they have occurred for malified reasons. And even if malified factors are at play, I suppose civil defamation laws exist in many countries, and that should be adequate. But why should this be made into a criminal offence? And, you know, when Mr. Kejriwal himself raised this issue, he of all people should be aware of the dangers of this. So I think that, we have an obligation as journalists, as editors, to deal with problems within our profession. But this cannot be done on the threat of, criminal cases being filed.
Okay. Venkatesh, you think this problem has aggravated as far as the way the Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal in particular, after the problem which he has started having within the party and all that, is it that which has created this kind of some kind of an insecurity in him?
That's certainly a contributory element. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the fact that he has had to face this within the party, and then and the way he went about handling that also was not particularly democratic. But this element, I mean, I think this element of looking at solutions which are not exactly within the framework of existing parameters, even which are very good. That's there.
That is typical Kejriwal style.
That's typical Kejriwal style. See, if you look at the kind of promises that he has given to the traders, or even this first speech that he made immediately after he took over, is that if any Aam Aadmi Party worker is seen indulging in some criminal act, he will get double the punishment. How can a chief minister decide that he will get double the punishment?
In a strange way also, Kejriwal is suffering from the fact that those who live by the media die by it. He is based in Delhi. This is where the national media is located. This is where all the OB vans are. The smallest mistake that he makes will be magnified. Similarly, he's been made into a national leader because he is based in Delhi. So, in a sense, Mr. Kejriwal has to see this as a double-edged sword. If I were him, I would ignore the criticism and proceed with what I have been elected for. Let's be clear, there were media channels, media houses which in a sense ran a campaign against Kejriwal before the election. He still got 67 seats. Those 67 seats have been premised on the fact that Kejriwal will provide a decent level of governance. They have not been premised on the fact that Kejriwal is going to get into this hostile relationship with the media, is going to constantly be antagonistic towards the media. If I were him, I would ignore it. And I would just focus on, I would look at constructive criticism and I would focus on my task. I mean, there are many chief ministers who have faced similar criticism.
No, in the bargain,
all of them have set criminal defamation cases.
No, in the bargain, you think that, even constructive criticism is unable to take now.
My fear is that, you see, because you are surrounding yourself only with, he is also now surrounded by this cabal and coterie politics like so many of our leaders. Therefore, he expects the media also in a sense to become an extension of the cabal.
In fact, he has offered to help start a newspaper and a television channel,
And
yesterday he said
he is perfectly entitled to do it. And ironically, there are more journalists in his party than there are probably in any other party. So he should have understood the media better than most.
Why is it? No, anyway, coming to we have to wrap up. So, you think that, it's not just Kejriwal, it's whether it's Prime Minister Modi or even the other leaders whom we are seeing increasingly after the social media has come. They seem to think that, they don't need the media anymore, or they can do less and less with the media because they're able to communicate directly to the people. So why, do you think that has been one of the reasons?
That's an interesting observation, Girish, which I haven't really thought of, but I think there is an interesting point in what you're saying. We are seeing one-way communication increasingly, using Twitter, using social media, in the belief that you don't have to answer questions anymore. Having said that, I still believe there is a growing intolerance compared between the netas of 20, 30 years ago, by and large. And then it's not as if in the past you had emergency, you had the defamation bill being brought by Rajiv Gandhi. It's happened. There have been episodes. By and large, though, leaders of an earlier vintage, I think, were by and large tolerant of the media, and there was a certain element of give and take between the two. Now what it has become, it is like hostile camps, them versus us. And in that scenario, with a section of the media becoming cheerleaders and the others being sort of accused of in some way selling out, I think the media finds itself in a very difficult position to do genuine independent journalism. The space for independent journalism, frankly, is shrinking in this country. That is my big fear, despite the diversity that Ajay spoke of.
Ajay, you think so? You think social media has created this kind of a situation?
See, social media will certainly create. The moment you get a new platform where the basis is subjectivity, always challenges the one which believes in objectivity. Media is objective in its very nature. Media believes in verification. Media believes in many other things, truth finding. Whereas in social media, you don't need to practice any of these things. Whatever you feel,
there is no filter.
There. It's there. So there's no gatekeeper. Once the gatekeeper gone and you have a media like that, the emergence of social media actually challenges the media's basic tenets, and it is for us to examine how do we survive, whether we survive at all. If we survive, then how do we survive in such an atmosphere? So your question is very valid, that now that people have got a social media platform where subjectivity rules, where you can actually manage those campaigns or may truly get genuine supporters, doesn't matter. Vis-a-vis those who believe in objectivity and try to believe in verification and other important issues of news gathering mechanism.
Well, that's one aspect of it.
Because you see the switch now, whether it is the Prime Minister, whether it is Arvind Kejriwal, whether it is the Congress party, now we have Rahul Gandhi also coming on Twitter, and Facebook is full of them. So they seem to think that we will communicate to the people directly. Why do we need these people in the middle?
I think while the trend may be that, it is too early to kind of write off the Indian media as a whole. Including the print media.
No, I am not writing off. I am looking at it from their point of view, and what harm it will cause to them also in the long run.
No, that is true. I mean, the kind of disruption that has taken place in the media space the world over, it's bound to take place here also. But I still feel that Indian politicians would require the media, and they have not come to the stage. And also, if you look at Kejriwal's own experience, on the one hand, we have been seeing all types of politicians, from Modi to Kejriwal, trying to control the media and trying to create a media space which is completely conducive to them. But if you look at the Supari element, I mean, the kind of insecurity or the kind of fear that Kejriwal has expressed, he is not the first politician to go through this. If you look at the history of Lalu Prasad Yadav or Indian left, they've all gone through this. So there is no. So you don't think Kejriwal has some kind of a new problem with him? Every politician, every major leader has faced this kind of. Certainly, he has departed from what he has been stating. As Siddarth has been very rightly pointed out.
Siddarth, final words to you on social media. You think social media has created this problem to a certain extent?
I think social media has created the problem that Rajdeep mentioned, which is that you have one-way communication has become the norm. So Mr. Modi takes to Twitter, or Mr. Kejriwal takes to Twitter. Actually, it's not even them, right? They're probably officials doing it on their behalf, and they believe that they're communicating directly, so they don't need to field questions from journalists. Even when they meet, like the Prime Minister has been meeting editors, but the understanding is all of this is off the record, and the general perception is that we don't need you, and if you are going to be critical and not, if you're not going to completely faithfully report in a positive way, then we will treat you as enemies and hostiles. So this is really a very bad sort of political culture that's crept in. In the past, it used to be only a few regional leaders that used to look at the media in this way.
Right.
But the fact that at the national level now, and somebody who really came out of the social movement or NGO movement like Kejriwal, the fact that he's also falling prey to this kind of negative attitude is really problematic, and I think it tells us something about the direction that Indian politics as a whole is taking.
Okay.
And he's using unconventional methods to deal with what a problem with a problem that has existed, because this is the way he deals with problems, as was pointed out by Venkatesh. When it comes to policemen, go and sting them. Now he's telling his bureaucrats, please go ahead and file criminal defamation cases.
Very quickly, Rajdeep, you think that having reached this stage, is there any way in which the Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal will have any kind of a normal relations with the media?
I think it suits Kejriwal. I think Kejriwal likes the idea of creating some kind of an adversarial relationship, because he believes that he will directly connect to the voter and send out the message that, look at me, I am this, I am the victim, I am being surrounded by all these hostile forces, I want to do work for you, these people are not allowing. He will use this to play the role of victim.
He has already started. In fact, after this ordinance was, this circular was issued, yesterday he had a Google Hangout, and this Google Hangout was shown across Delhi in all the wards. The Aam Aadmi Party.
So he's using new technology also in the bargain. Anyway, we will have to wait and watch if there's going to be any improvement in the relations. But as Rajdeep says, that he may actually use this for his own benefit, but whether it will benefit him or not is something we'll have to wait and watch. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in the big picture same time tomorrow.